Hello, welcome to the show. Today we'll be interviewing Helen Kiver from Johnston in Scotland, and my co host Jean Spears from Glasgow, and myself, Gary Finlay from Dundee. So, Helen, welcome to the show.
Hiya, pleased to be
Hi,
here.
Jean.
Hi.
Right, people. Right, Helen, we're going to start off by getting a bit of background on you.
Okay.
I would like to ask how you got involved.
In spiritualism,
Yes, yes.
it was something that I was aware of growing up, but never really took much interest in, I've got to say. And the lifestyle that I was leading for the first half of my adult life, it didn't really run hand in hand with spiritualism. So it was put on the back burner. And about 25, 27 years ago, I started sitting in a circle, and that's how I got started.
Right. So, take it you started sensing stuff when you were younger?
It was the way of everybody came to me with their problems. It didn't matter what it was. I had a kind of great sense of deja vu, and kind of knowing what was going to happen. I could tell you, well, not tell you, but I knew that Maggie was going to phone after not talking for a while, or I knew something unexpected was going to happen. I couldn't always pinpoint exactly what it was, but I knew there would be something. But as I say, it was always just put onto a back burner.
Right. So, and nowadays you're busy.
Well, you say busy. That's me. I'll say busy.
Right. Okay. But you're enjoying what you're doing, are you? You're enjoying.
I'm very, very much enjoying what I'm doing. I've got to say, I feel like at this point in my life that if I didn't have what I've got in spiritualism, and I didn't have the great belief and the great foundations that I have in spiritualism, then I don't think I would be the same person that I am today.
Right. So, I take it you just got the one centre you attend, or have you got more centres that you run, or?
No, I run independently Unite Spiritualist Church in Johnston, and myself and Jean Spears run a church in Renfrew, in the McMaster Centre. So I'm involved in two full-time churches. The lady that I'm involved with, obviously Jean's here, in Renfrew, she also runs her own independent church, but that's where I am at the moment. I don't really visit many centres. I don't really go out with most of the stuff I do is within my own community, my own church, etc.
Right. Okay. So, right, Jean, you got any questions you want to ask Helen?
Oh, hundreds.
Oh, I knew you would have hundreds.
Oh, here's me when Jean talks.
When Helen and I speak, it could be 3 hours.
Right.
Right, Helen. How do you see the movement has changed since you first joined it?
Oh, geez, Joni. The nicest way to answer that would be that it's changed hugely. When I first came into the movement as such, to not just sit in a circle, but when I first came into the movement to work, then that's when I realised that all these people that my tutor had been bringing into her church, and all the people that I'd been introduced to as mediums, as working mediums, as well as nice as some of their reputations were, everybody out there's eager to scratch your eyes out, I've got to say. It's one of the worst. And I'm going to call this an industry for a better want of a word, but in this industry, like in your private life, you could probably count on one hand how many faithful friends you've got in mediumship and spiritualism, because most people are very, very false.
Yep.
I don't know if that's just my personal opinion, but that's how I feel about it. You've got to be very careful.
Okay. So, what do you look for when a medium comes to serve your church?
Mm-hmm. Again, things have so changed since the lady that I get a great deal of respect for is called Elizabeth Halliday, and Elizabeth taught me in such a way where you had to always respect spirit. So we always had to wear a skirt that was below the knees. We always had to have tights on. You had to have your tattoos covered up. You know, it wasn't quite your grannies up to the neck and down to the ankles, but it was similar. And the way that I speak now is not the way that I spoke then. You know, because we all change who we are. And over the years, we've managed to allow ourselves to get our tattoos out or get our different coloured hair out, or, you know, but I still don't like the turning up with a skirt above your knees with no tights on, and I still don't like the idea of the joggy bottoms and stuff like that in my church. And you know, and there are one or two people who come along who maybe thought of as a little bit retro or whatever, but it's about respect, and I know we shouldn't judge. Sorry, I keep moving. But we do judge. And I wouldn't want anybody who smells. I wouldn't want anybody who didn't dress appropriately. I wouldn't want anybody who had tried their best to tidy themselves up. So I still do personally have people that I wouldn't ask along to my church because of the standard that maybe I don't know, you know, just because of their. If I was going out, I would like to be fresh, smelling nice, hair done, makeup on, dressed appropriately, you know, be respectful. Some people just don't do that. And that's a big change that was never there when I first started.
Right. So we're not exactly asking people to wear designer clothes, but we're just asking them to respect themselves.
Absolutely.
What would you do if someone came to your church and they weren't dressed appropriately, or they spoke disrespectfully, like swore or something?
Well, I've got a wee bell on the table, so if somebody swears, I would bing the wee bell. And I know sometimes with all mediums, you know, it slips out. You just a wee word or something slips out, and of course you've got to, you know, then, you know, turn back and apologise to a chair, and then you would apologise to your guys that were all sitting out there. But if somebody came along, I'd like to think in my church, that said something completely inappropriate or was acting inappropriate, I would need to get up and stop them. Clothes-wise, if somebody came and they weren't to my liking, that sounds really terrible and really crass, because I may not be everybody else's liking. But I would, depending on who the person was, I would either tell them, but I would most certainly not have them back.
Good.
I don't know if that is good. Folk
At least
will be
you're
looking
honest.
and thinking,
Yeah,
bitch.
I'm saying at least you're honest.
Well,
Yeah.
folk will be thinking, you know, bitch or whatever, but the priest in the St Margaret's Church, or the minister in the High Parish, or the reverend who's running the Presbyterian Church round the corner. Now, none of these people would turn up with their hair all spiky, black makeup on like I'm standing out a star, all silver bangles up their arms and such like, a pair of shorts on, a bloody t-shirt that's not been ironed, and a bra that you can see your nipples standing out through. You know, so a minister or a reverend or whatever is not going to turn up like that. So
yeah,
that's the part we play. And that's where we should be respectful. We as personal people, we should be respectful, because that priest or reverend or minister would certainly be respectful to you if you were sitting in his congregation.
Yep.
So do you think we should lead by example?
Absolutely.
Because we're running the centres?
Absolutely. I think more and more independent churches are popping up everywhere. And I do feel like in some associations where, you know, if we all stuck to the same kind of rules, the same kind of idea, the same payments, the same things like that, things would be a whole lot easier, because you wouldn't have one medium getting 50 or 60 quid when the next medium the next week's only getting 25 or 30, you know. Now, money is not the issue as in a personal thing. It's a principle thing. You know, we all should be working from the same hymn sheet.
So some people say they give more money to the mediums who travel a further distance. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. These
Yep.
people need that wee bit extra. Because I know when even just if I'm going from Johnston to the other side of Glasgow, that can take my time an hour and a half getting there, and then it can take me another hour getting home again. So yes, they say we're not expecting to get paid, etc., for working, but we are having to look after our petrol, our cars, our time, again, your body, etc. You have to smell good, look good, etc., etc. So yes, people who are further away absolutely deserve more money than those who are local, and that's what I mean by if we were all singing off the same hymn sheet, then 20 miles would get such and such, 30 miles would get such and such, etc., etc., and then there would be no favouritism.
Yeah.
Yep.
So how do you think moving forward the spiritualist movement could improve?
It could probably improve by not allowing yourself to get sucked into the movement too quickly, and allowing yourself to ground yourself and just allow yourself to get to know the lay of the land. But I would like it to be in the future. Is that the question you asked? What you'd like it to be in the future?
Yeah, how can we move forward? Yeah.
I think in the moving forward, we have to be a whole lot more disciplined within our churches. We have to be a whole lot more disciplined also with how we allow things to go on within our churches or our workshops or our circles or whatever. We have to be very aware of each other. And right now, and a lot of that doesn't go on. It's all very me. I want to be, I need to be, I've got to be, I want, and we really shouldn't be working like that. We really shouldn't,
Yeah.
They should all be going together, forward together, and I know my church is called Unite, but I really do feel like we should all unite together and be the same, be individual, but be the same. Be the same.
So, have you ever been a member of the SNU?
Oh no! Oh no! No!
Can you let the audience know why?
Firstly, I understand and I appreciate the fact that the SNU was the association that allowed spiritualism to become something legal, something that was actually there, a religion that was classed as, which is great, and I think that was fabulous. But being a part of the SNU is certainly not going to allow you to do any more work any other place. You're going to get this as much work in as many churches or as you are without an SNU ticket. I don't like that wee book you've got to fill in every time you go and do a church. Well, our church is really going to fill that in and say something terribly negative about you when it's right there in front of you, I don't know. I personally wouldn't waste the time, because it's a lot of time to go through the SNU properly. And I know one or two people who are in the SNU, and believe me, for some of these people it's been years worth of education and experience and time and effort and money, so it's something that doesn't come easily.
So would you attend a training course in Stansted through the SNU? Would you do that?
I went to Stansted with an independent church with Elizabeth Halliday and her church in Mulgai many years ago, and even then I think it cost me something like £600 for you travel down in the Saturday morning, and you got your Saturday all day kind of learning courses, you had your Saturday night and your meals and whatever, but it was a weekend. It was £600 and so, and I'm thinking I could go to bleeding Spain for a week for £600, fully inclusive. I did think about Kingswell before it closed, thinking, well, that's a wee bit closer, but at least we're in Scotland here. You could drive to Kingswell a few hours. I personally, and it is only me personally, I wouldn't want to go with the SNU or any other individual to go to Stansted. You just look at some of the mediums that they put their their wee bit of history and whatever there, and studied at Stansted, and you're thinking, you went for 2 bleeding days, or you went for a 1-day course, or you went, you didn't study at bloody Stansted. Studying to me means something like uni or college, where you do something for 3, 4, 5 years on. That's studying. You go to Stansted to do an expensive bloody workshop. Excuse me my language, sorry.
No, speak your mind.
This is ordinary people talking about the movement and saying it how it is.
But again, we still really can't be swearing, especially not at each other.
Right, so I know a few years ago I looked at a course for SNU and it was £600 for the course. And then you had to get there and get back, and then you had your accommodation on top of that. So do you think that's discriminating against poor people?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There are so many mediums out there who are living to the bone, quite literally living to the bone, and they're doing this work because it's in them, it's who they are. They wouldn't want to be doing anything else. And people that go to Stansted, absolutely fine if you've got the money to do that. But where do the people who are living on the breadline, or that young lady who's got 2 children and she's single and she's only got a part-time job, or indeed the guy who's single and he's got a full-time job, but by the time he pays his rent and God knows everything else and eats and his car maybe to get to his job, Stansted's a very far thought away, It's not at all fair. It is not at all fair. That house and that grounds was given to them. It was given to them freely, so they had no mortgage, they had no, stuff. Yes, they've built wee buildings on whatever to the side and you can stay in them, but oh God, no, £1,000 to go to Stansted, really? You could find a medium up here who could do your weekend workshop with far more interesting things involved in it. And it would only give you, you'd only be paying the medium £120 and there'd be 13 E's in the room.
So when you went to Stansted, do you think you came back with new knowledge that kind of balanced out with the money you paid?
No, not at all. And I don't know how all the courses run in Stansted, I really don't, but I know that I was in, it gets split into 3, and each of these 3 groups were supposed to rotate. So one group was getting Elaine Davis, Maureen Murnan and Glyn, and okay, that's terrible, I can't remember Glyn's second name now, that's terrible. But anyway, and we were meant to be rotated, but there was so many people liked sitting in Glyn's workshop that they didn't want to move, and they didn't, which meant then there wasn't room for any other members to be able to go in and do it. So it was you were a bit stuck in the mud with how the teaching was going to go. And Wersay on Skye obviously had a problem and stopped going to Stansted at the time. So we didn't get Wersay ons or anything like that. But yes, it can show you nice wee things, a bit of trance, a bit of tabletop, and a bit of this and that. But as in learning, I don't think you're actually learning anything. I think your tutor in a good circle will be able to teach you anything more maybe than Stansted will be able to give you. My personal opinion again.
Thanks, Helen. Gary, have you got questions for Helen?
Well, I would certainly agree with what she says, but as I say, if people have got money, they can always go and try it, you know what I mean? But a local church and a wee circle and a good tutor, and then that's all you really need. You know what I mean?
I think so.
Plus, what's £4, a couple of pounds for somebody to come along, and if they really are wanting to learn it, and then, you know what I mean? Rather than £600, so it's a big difference. Right. Sorry, Jane.
It's easy to get £4 together than £600.
Yes.
But even you'll know we run in your own church. If there's a workshop going on and it's maybe say £12 for the workshop, 10 o'clock to 3 o'clock, whatever it is, and one of your church members comes along and says to you, Jane, I would really like to go to this workshop, but I really can't afford it. You would be the same as me and say nothing to nobody and just come along, and that's the way it would be. Or tonight, I can't afford my £4 to sit down, but I'm here. Is that okay? Of course it is. And you go and sit down. Nobody needs to know these things.
No.
But if you're a good, reliable, honest tutor, then a good circle can teach you anything if you want to be taught.
Yeah. You've got to be ready for learning,
Yeah.
Well, I agree with you there. Yeah, I agree with you there. If somebody come to me and says they didn't have money, then you're still welcome and you come.
Yeah.
Certainly, and you get, if you're here, Spirit sent you here, so come on.
That's exactly. We're all here for a reason. We've all got a reason to be here. All very different, but very similar. But we're all for a reason. I was just actually had a conversation with a girl across the road, and she's very Catholic, as is her husband. But she's been talking to me about spiritualism, what it is, what it does, blah blah blah. And I was saying she says, will you do private reading? Me and my sister really like private. And I thought, well, you know what, Paula, you're right across the road. No, I probably wouldn't want to do a private reading because I've seen you for the last 10 years. Don't know a great deal about it. I know enough. But I'll tell you what, why would you want to spend £30 when you can go around the corner and spend £4 and take the same chance as getting a good reading? And you could come, like 10 times for that £40 or that £30. And the chances are you'll get a message from a medium at some point and it will be a good reading. We all know that 30-minute readings are fabulous, and they're fabulous. But really, as a medium, for me, I think you can say anything important and anything that needs to be said within 10, 12, 15 minutes. After that, so you're getting the same 7, 8, 9 minutes maybe in a church. Would you not want to take the chance in £4 rather than 30 or 40, or some mediums charging 70 and 80 and 90? I mean, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so £4 sounds good to me.
What do you think of people who charge £90 and tell you you're getting an hour's communication?
I think it's shocking. I honestly think it's shocking that anybody would think that they could charge. Now, yes, I don't like using the word gift, but this has been given to us, it's been given to us so that we can then go forward and share all the information that somebody else shared with us. That information was given to us, apart from paying your circle money, that information was given free to us, So who are we as mediums to forget where we came from? We started in small community halls, doing services in small churches, and then all of a sudden you want to be an international medium when you only went to Spain and spoke to somebody and gave them a wee message, and that all of a sudden makes you an international medium. No, and nobody's got the right to charge any more than 20, 30 quid for a reading, especially if it's local. 80, 90, £100, I think it's absolutely shocking. The
thing is, there's no difference between what medium you go to. I don't understand where the price comes in. You know what I mean? It makes no sense.
These people obviously think they're bigger than themselves,
Well, some people think the more you charge, the better you must be. But my question is, how do you know you're going to get communication for a full hour?
You're not. You're going to get a lot of psychic stuff for an hour.
You're going to waffle.
That's right. You're not guaranteed to get any connection.
Because as mediums, we are taught to work in churches, and we're taught like the 3 to 7 minute message. That's how we're brought up in our circles, the 3 to 7 minute message. So when you go out to do private readings and somebody's genuinely looking for a 45, 50 minute reading, you've got to drop to psychic at some point. You've got to drop to psychic at some point, because there's no way Spirit would have you working, I don't think, that length of time. It takes so much out of your head. It's so much out of your body. It's mentally draining. And if you've got a party of 4 sitting there and they're all wanting 45 minutes each, that's a lot of work. I'm sorry, but no.
No, I agree with you, Helen. I agree with you. It's a long time to do a reading. Yeah, you're definitely going to drop the psyche. On to my next question, right? This is a good one for you. Really, well, I want to ask it, so I'm going to ask it. What do you think about all mediums judging each other and how they're jealous of each other and they've got to speak about each other? Do you think we need that in the movement? Do you think people have actually developed enough to actually forget about that way of being? You know what I mean?
No.
Or is it going to continue to be like that? That we're always going to hate these judgmental people out there in the movement?
Absolutely. We're always going to have judgmental people. Firstly, I think we all need to remember that we are, at the end of the day, we're all human beings. So we all have that ability in us to judge not only ourselves, but other people. And I remember, can I mention another person's medium's name? He's passed now. But I remember listening to an address by Ricky Martin many years ago, again in Mulgai, and he said, what if a wee guy walked in here with a shell suit on, because this was 15-20 years ago, remember, with a shell suit on and a wee baseball cap turned backwards, and all right, pal, how you doing? I've got a message for your ma here, and you are not. How would you think about that message? And then I was to walk in with my suit and my shirt and my tie, my hair perfect, and give you roughly the same kind of message. Who would you be likely to believe? And right away we would pick Ricky Martin, because he was standing there in a nice suit, a nice pair of trousers, and a nice shirt, and a nice, hair done. And that's what I was talking about earlier, where people in our churches, yes, we do judge. But as the founder or the president or the running of that church, we have to be respectful and be very vigilant in who we get to come and stand on platform. We're supposed to be not better than everybody else. I don't mean it like that, but we're meant to be shown to be given over as much as we possibly can and not have an ego about it. We don't want to be, we're not in this industry to become famous. We shouldn't be want to become famous. Too many mediums want to become famous, I'm afraid.
Yeah, and that's where the price comes from.
Yeah, and nobody's got that right to charge, that kind of money to sit and give somebody, a reading, where the likelihood is that after 10, 15, 20 minutes, a lot of it's going to be gobbledygook. It's going to be giving you the same information in a different way or different wording, or indeed it's going to be psychic. You're going to drop to psychic. Now, there's nothing wrong with drop to psychic. There are many fabulous psychics out there. They are. But we can't be charging over the odds for these things. It's like the Stansted thing. We need to be able to give everybody a chance to be able to achieve paying for something like that. And if you're poor, you can't afford £90 or £100 out your weekly money. I'm sorry, but you can't. Yeah.
It's like the mental mindset of people nowadays. It's like they've got to have the best of stuff. You know what I mean? The best of jeans, the best of equipment, the best of everything. It's got to have a name. So I think that's what they look for. They look for the dearest one and they think they're the best. It doesn't work like that. It's not the way it works. It
isn't. We really shouldn't judge books by their cover. And as I say, we are unfortunately human. And there actually was an instance when I had to say to a gentleman, no, I'm sorry, you can't come to my church because I will not allow black joggy bottoms and a black hoodie with a black pair of trainers. That's just me personally in my church. Anybody else can have it, because he wrote back to me and told me that I was I'll not use the word, but and he spoke to other mediums who told him that there wasn't a dress code for churches. There isn't. There's my dress code for my church.
Yes.
It's
that's right. Your rules, your place, you run it the way you like to run it.
And that's exactly, as I say, your priest or your minister or your reverend would not go up there, with ripped jeans on or a smelly t-shirt or not been washed and your hair everywhere. No, they wouldn't do that. So why would you expect somebody like us to be able to do that? No, I'm sorry, we shouldn't be. We shouldn't be,
As I say, you do your best, you open your centre, you're there to allow people to come to connect with their loved ones, and you run it the way you want to run it, and if people don't like the way you run it, then there's plenty of other churches out there. That's what I say. Yeah.
Oh, I can tell you.
I'm
Gary,
kind of honest. I'll just tell you the way it is. You don't want to be in the centre. Then come to the centre. I'm not forcing you to come.
Well, that's it. That's it. Anybody can go. And they're free to go anywhere they want to go. The only thing I would say with that, as far as when it comes to a tutor, I personally do feel that we can only have one tutor at a time. You can have many tutors over your lifetime, but you can only have one at a time, and you should not be then jumping back and forth from circle to circle or person to person, whatever. I've had 3 tutors in my life, but Elizabeth Halliday was probably my main tutor. But they were all at very different times in my life, and they all gave me very different things as well. They all worked differently, so it was very nice. But we are all very individual, and Gary, in my church, it's my rules. I'm sorry, and I say it's not my church, it's our church, and everybody in the church says it's our wee church, that's our wee church, and that is the way it is, because I don't make the church. I'm only the foundation. They're the people that built it, and I do think, but I do still very much have, and I know I really shouldn't have, but unfortunately I do have judgment. I don't want somebody coming, and being disrespectful in any kind of way, whether that be dress code, smell, the way they present themselves, or indeed the way they give out a message. There are certain things I think we, as runners of these churches, we have to be accountable for some of that.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you. And going on to tutors as well, do you think that this is the thing that annoys me, right? When you go to any of these places and you go to maybe sit in their circle or you attend their group, do you actually think you're learning anything? Do you actually think that you're picking anything up and learning? Because I find that a lot of mediums hold back on the way they communicate with spirit. They don't actually reveal how they communicate with the spirit world.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I do.
At Mess Centre, I try and give them the experience on their first night so that they can actually feel spirit. And I believe that you should share everything that you know so that you can help that individual get on their path. But I know I've been to plenty of circles in my days, but I've never lasted 2 weeks, honestly, because I didn't think that what I seen and what I sat and got taught was teaching anything. It wasn't.
Well, I know somebody, Gary, who has been in the movement for 34 years. And only when she came to my circle for a couple of weeks did she find out how to let spirit know she was ready to work. Nobody had ever told her or asked her to do that.
Yeah. I just think that it's something that's missed. You know what I mean? People are paying their money, they're attending the circle, they're sitting there, and then they maybe hear a wee meditation, and at the end of it, they say, how did you get on? Well, how is the person meant to know how to get on when they've never been taught how to open up and connect? You know what I mean? How to invite spirit forward. It's crazy, But the person will take their money. They'll take their money from them. Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. And I try to let and try to teach my guys that very thing, understanding when you're opening up, how you're opening up and closing back down again, and allowing spirit to have that connection with you. But also about there's some people who sit in circle and they may well feel that they're going to be a medium and they're not, and they want to sit in the wee circle that we have, which is fine, it's only an awareness circle. But in a development circle, you have to have, I would imagine, only maybe 4, 6, 8 people maximum, because you've got to give each and every one of those people the same amount of time and commitment. So if you feel somebody's on the road and you want to be taking them out, then you need to be giving everybody that opportunity to be taken out and working. And I'm still a great believer in the 10, 15, 20, 25, 40 minutes thing. So that's to me how my guys would learn. It would be 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, etc. But it's only just recently a couple of them have said to me in the new development circle, oh, I know what you mean now by that feeling of spirit coming in and the belly feeling of psychic. And I said the same to them that Elizabeth Halliday said to me, you know, Helen, one day the penny will drop. You'll just realise, bang, that's what it is. And that's how it happens. And they do now. And some have got different ways about it. And one of the girls gets a really itchy nose, so she knows then that she's ready to rumble. The other girl gets really hard, definitive goosebumps on her shoulders, so she knows then that that's her ready to. And I've also tried to tell them, do not on the way there try to get somebody, and do not while you're sitting at the table try to get somebody. Yes. You wait till you're up there, you know. In any church that I work in, Gary, everybody will see me. I walk back as far as I can to the wall, right all the way back, and then I stand for a second or two, and then I come forward, and that's when I come forward, and then that's when I've got to speak. But I do that with every message, you know. I do it with every message. I stand back again and go back in, and that's what I'm trying to teach them. Cut off with water, cut off with walking out the energy, walk out that energy, you know. But do something. They need to feel it. And a lot of people, can I say, don't feel it. They don't feel it. They don't know when they're going from mediumship to psychic or whatever. They don't know. They don't know the difference.
I've always said that to the people. You've got to feel. If you can't feel, how could you connect? You know what I mean? You can't feel that energy. You can't feel the spirit there. You can't connect. That's just the way it is.
Have we got time for one more question, Gary?
Yeah, we're only 36 minutes in. Yeah, go for it.
Right. Helen, what do you feel about people running churches who are not mediums?
Now, again, that's down to judgment. And it is my personal opinion. There are people out there, and I know many of them, who run churches and are not working mediums. And you don't have to be a working medium. You know, you only have to be able. And I know that there are one or two out there that are not run by mediums. What happens then when the medium doesn't turn up and that person that's cheering doesn't have a dicky-do clue about what to do, how to say it, what we're going to... I mean, really? Because you'll find that most of these people don't even want to sit in a circle or anything like that, so they've got no experience of anything. What do they do? I know, like myself, you know, a couple of the people that I know that do run churches, they are mediums. So therefore, if I don't turn up or I cancel or you cancel, then they can step up to the bar. They can step up to the bar. And I've had to do it many times in my church where someone's cancelled and you've got to step up to the bar. I don't think, and again, it's a personal opinion, but I don't think that people who do not have some form of connection with spirit, I don't think they should be completely running churches on their own. If they have a member or somebody else that can, you know, help them, fair dues. But they shouldn't be running a church on their own. They don't know a good medium from a bad medium. So how can you pick one, you know, to get them to come work for you if you're not a medium, you know? And again, there's a few really bad mediums out there, and they're really bad, and they're still getting dates, and you think, Jesus, Johnny, Mark, and Tony, you know, why? No, you know, you don't want to be giving somebody 25 names and then 25 numbers within 30 seconds and not give them the chance to answer back, you know.
That brings me to another question. How many times should somebody cancel before you say no more?
Twice.
Oh, two.
I'm only two, and it's that old Italian expression, hurt me, fool on you, fool on me, hurt me twice, fool on you. Sorry, I said that in the back, went wrong way.
Aye.
Hurt me first time, fool on you, hurt me twice, fool on me. I'm a 2 times girl. I feel that if you twice cancel me, you're done. You know,
well,
I feel genuinely that there's something wrong.
I'm saying I've always says that if somebody lets me down, doesn't contact me, doesn't get back to me to let me know they're not coming, their name they'll be named and shamed. That's it.
Well,
that's what I say. No second time, no third time, first time.
Well, I have done that to a couple of people where they've cancelled me on their first occasion, and I've publicly said, you know, this person is not coming tonight, cannot be, they've got another booking, or, you know, this person has cancelled at the last minute or whatever. I do understand that things happen in life. I've had to cancel myself. But I would never cancel somebody and not give anybody, you know, as much notice as I possibly could. And after doing that, I would then try and give them at least 3 or 4 names of people that I think would be willing to step in, you know, at that kind of last minute thing, you know, 1 or 2 names that can maybe help. But I've actually had a medium cancel on Facebook and had to be told by another medium on the phone, did you see the ad that they've cancelled your church? And I was like, you're joking, you know, really, you're joking? Wow. Back at 4 o'clock, I'm thinking, no, sorry, you'll not be back. I don't care how many bums you put on the seats, you'll not be back.
Correct, I agree. Especially when they notice, they've got to contact you and tell you they're not coming. But if they didn't contact you at all and didn't turn up, and you're left with a crowd full of people there in the halls packed out, and there's no medium.
No, if they didn't contact me and didn't let me know, first chance they're done. But I will give somebody a second chance if they have to cancel over something and they give me notice and whatever. Absolutely, because there is a time, Gary, where we've all had to cancel at some point. You know, something's came up where we've been no well or a family matter, whatever. But I'm sorry, having your third cousin twice removed in the corner being no well with the flu isn't a good enough excuse for you not to turn up.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Yeah. Jean, have you got anything else you'd like to ask?
No, I'm fine. That's me. I've had enough. I've asked enough.
I've talked a lot of rubbish. Everybody's going to look at this and think you're just a bitch, Nelly.
No, Helen. It'll be posted shortly, so you'll get to see it.
Aye, so everybody else.
Don't worry about it. As I said to Gary, any negative comments is still, they'll go and ask other people to come to our site and look at it. So any...
Can I just say before you finish up, you know how I've been talking about as human as we are, we judge and stuff like that, and we all do. We never really touched on the point that any mediums working out there with mental health issues, and there are a lot of mediums out there who have different forms of mental health issues. And I'm just saying this because I'm on a lot of drugs, and I've always learned through circles, etc., that, you know, we don't try to work with spirit, with mind-altering drugs or alcohol or whatever in our body. And I understand that completely. But we need to be able to define the difference between somebody who's taken pharmaceutical drugs and is in the right mind frame, even though they can very well be mind-altering drugs, opium-based or whatever, you know. But I would say there's about 90% of the mediums out there that all have some form of a mental health issue. If we didn't, I would be very, very surprised. But that I feel like, you know, people can... that's one of the things that people can hang on you. Oh, but you're not right in the top piece because you're on all the drugs and you're that blah, 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 blah. And that needs to be clarified, that not every medium that's, you know, out there is 100% all there, you know.
Well, if you look at how people nowadays, most people have mental health problems. It's the way society is, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a problem somewhere, you know what I mean? So it's nothing to be ashamed of. And it's good that you've been honest and mentioned that, because a lot of people watching it do suffer from mental health. You know what I mean? They're probably panicking. They didn't want what they're doing or taking medication. They didn't want people to know that. But there's nothing to be ashamed of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No,
it's just the way society's made of it. You know what I mean?
I take 14 different drugs every day, and I wouldn't be able to get up and out the house without them, Gary.
Yeah.
But if you were to meet me, my walking and talking and such like is fine. When I'm tired, I limp a lot and my eyes tend to go whatever. But but I'm on a lot of drugs, and there's a lot of mediums out there that are doing the same. But we don't want to be, or I don't care. Jean knows me, and in that respect, I don't care who knows about my mental health issues. I really don't, because we do need to be able to tell more people about them. We do need to be more open about it, and we need to be more understanding that there are 90, 95, 98, 10% of mediums out there have all got some kind of mental health issue, or indeed some kind of family issue or something in the closet.
Yeah.
You know, we've all got something that we're holding on to. We should be able to talk about this with each other. But we're not. You know, we Johnny Brown's telling me that he's a bit brew, and then I'm going and breaking his confidence, and I'm telling somebody else why Johnny tell me he's not very good in a brew, and then before you know it, the word Chinese whispers, and before you know it, everybody knows about wee Johnny, but the last person actually has heard that wee Johnny is actually no well, and he's been in the hospital and he's got cancer. Do you know what I mean? But we should be, because too many people surmise things about our mental health, and I'd like to, it wouldn't bother me for people to know that I am unfortunately on a lot of pharmaceutical drugs, but it doesn't lessen any of who I am as a medium. You know, it really doesn't.
It's not just mediums, it's most of society nowadays. You know what I mean? And the problem is, nobody speaks about it. They keep it to themselves, and they think that they're dealing with it themselves. Whereas shows like this, where the people can come on and chat about it and open up, it's going to help them so much and help other people that watch the show. You know what I mean? And it makes them realise that they didn't need to keep it within. They didn't need to panic about life and that, because we're all the same. We're all doing the same thing. It's not just them. You know what I mean? We've all got problems before we go anywhere. We've all got problems where we can't get our head up in the street to look at somebody. We've all got these issues. You know what I mean?
We've all got them. You know, we all have them. But it's just unfortunate that some mediums will play on it with you and, you know, make it, you know, turn it around somehow. And if you do have any kind of mental health issues at all, there are people out there who are quite happy to tarnish your name and go along with that. You know, don't get, you know, Nelly Kaiva, because she's not writing the top piece, you know, and Jean will tell you, I'm kind of loud and proud and in your face. That's the kind of person I am. But at the same time, I'm very aware that there's, well, they'll know now, but there are many mediums who come to me that don't know about my mental health issues. But then in saying that, there are mediums that come that have mental health issues of their own, and they can see it right away, and you get to talk, and you know, and you find out other things about other mediums. And yes, you're not alone. You're not alone in this. You know, you're not alone in this. We should be here to help people. That's why we work for Spirit. We should be here to help people. You know, we are that fourth emergency service. You know, I think we should be more like the Samaritans, you know. We should be that fourth emergency service, you know, where we really do truly help people. And I'll guarantee you that there have been people in churches who have been stopped from committing suicide or been stopped from doing something silly to themselves or family members due to a church and its members or its president or its whatever, or even the medium that comes that week and takes them aside at the end of the service. People have had their lives changed, completely had their lives changed because of somebody, and you need to understand the mental health issue to be able to help in that, I think.
Yeah. Slowly help them open up. That's what it is. Be there for them, be that ear for them to listen to them. You know what I mean? That's
many churches have helped so many people.
Yeah. Well, Helen, you're honest, you're open, you've come on the day, and you spoke your mind, and I'm really happy with that. I'm sure Jean would agree with me.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you.
Jean knows I'm a kind of mind speaker, so.
Yes. And I'm sure I've got you booked to come up to my end of town shortly. I'm sure you're in my diary for doing a demonstration of mediumship. So I
am, Gary, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yes. Well, I think we'll just call it a day, and thank you very much for coming on and taking part today, Helen.
Thanks, Helen. Speak to you soon.
Right, let's just put this on, and then we'll go.